Hi, I'm Matt McMurray with Campus Automotive in Blacksburg, Virginia, and today we have 4 all-terrain tires that I've selected to go on my personal Chevrolet Tahoe Z71. If you're new to Campus Automotive, we do tire comparisons, tire reviews, and lots of tire talk. So subscribe and hit the bell to keep up. So as you can see behind me, this is our 2018 Chevrolet Tahoe Z71 package. It's our family vehicle. My wife drives it daily. We run like crazy. My wife teaches about 20 minutes away from home. She drives probably 30 miles round trip a day at least. You know, we're a pretty active family. I got 2 kids. We're, you know, playing different sports and doing dance and going to friends' houses and things like that. So it never cools down. It always stays running all the time. One of the things that we do with it is we drive a lot on a gravel road, which is really important to have the traction on the gravel road. So these are the 4 tires that I've identified to go on it and to really make sure that we're getting the most out of that Z71 package, making sure we got good winter and snow traction, making sure we're good on gravel roads, and we're going to try to get a little more life out of these tires than we got off of the OE tires, because we only got 40,000 miles off of the OE Goodyear Fortitude HTs. It wasn't a very good 40,000 miles. That's not really a good tire, so I'm not even considering that to replace. So as you can see here, 4 tires that I've selected that I think would be good fits. Now, first thing you notice is they all look like they're slightly different sizes, and that's because they are. Because just for illustrative purposes, I had to get sizes that were available at the time and not special order so that we could look at everything before I finally order the ones that I need. So the first tire in the lineup is a General Grabber APT, and we talked about that in a separate video before too. Second tire, Continental TerrainContact AT. Third tire, Toyo Open Country AT3. And then the 4th tire is the tried and true BF Goodrich all-terrain TA. The General Grabber APT and the Continental TerrainContact AT look very similar. Well, that's because General Tire is owned by Continental, and so they're designed basically by the same design team, particularly in the light truck segment. Because Continental's segment has always been, they've been specialty at sports car tires and touring tires. And so when they started to get into the AT tire realm, which they'd never been in before, they needed help. So they pulled the resources from the guys in the US design office, and they're both designed in the same place, so that's why they look kind of similar. Open Country AT, we've done a video on this before. This is just an update on the AT2 that they have. I think they've really done some great updates on it, so I definitely want to consider that tire. And then the BF Goodrich all-terrain KO2, and we've talked about that a lot of times before too, so that's always on your list when you're looking for new tires. So first up on the list is the General Grabber APT. We've talked about it being a pretty decent all-terrain tire before. It's a decent looking tire, 3-peak mountain snowflake, rim protector, which is going to be important to us because I want to make sure that I protect those rims because it's an expensive vehicle. White letter and black letter. I'll run black letter out. I won't run the white letters. But it's a fairly good looking tire. I chose it first on the list there as one of the final 4 to select from. So definitely a pretty cool tire. I think it's going to be good. This is the 2nd tire on the list, Continental TerrainContact AT. You know, this is one of my favorite tires. I have this on my Ram truck and also on my Suburban. We've had a lot of miles. We put a lot of miles on these tires. We've sold a lot of these tires. They've been really good. One good thing about this tire is it's got a lot of highway stability because these outer tread blocks are all connected. So the only downside is it's not 3-peak mountain snowflake rated. I don't think that's a huge concern for me, but I'm kind of curious why this one's not, but the General Grabber APT is, because they're very similarly designed. So I'm not sure, you know, what the criteria is that goes into that, but it seems odd that it's not. It does have a rim protector. It's definitely a good looking tire. It looks fairly aggressive. It's going to help with, you know, different things, getting those stones out and ejecting all those little rocks and stuff that kind of beat the side of the car up. All right, so now we got the Toyo Open Country AT3. It's obviously an update to the AT2. Like, I'm really curious to see how these perform in the real world. That's why I added it to this list, because probably one of my top 2 out of all 4 is this Open Country AT3. It's got a rim protector, is 3-peak snowflake rated. Definitely an all-terrain tire, more in line with maybe a BFG KO2. Obviously, Toyo has an excellent reputation for off-road and all-terrain tires. So that's why I added this to the list, because I really want to see for myself how they do in the real world. So last but not least, we got the BF Goodrich All-Terrain KO2. Is 3-peak mountain snowflake rated, like we've talked about many times before. Does not have a rim protector on the KO2, which is kind of an odd thing. Is pretty aggressive for an all-terrain tire. Might be a little too aggressive for my application. The other downside is this only comes in the LT 8-ply configuration instead of a P-metric 6-ply in the rest of them, which might hamper the ride a little bit. It might make it a little more bumpy and ride a little rougher. And I really like the ride of the Tahoe right now, so I really don't want to degrade or make that any worse. But obviously it should always be considered. If you're trying to consider a all-terrain tire for any vehicle, you have to have this on your list. So we do have this on the list, and you know, we'll see what happens. So I wanted to show you the tires on our Tahoe and talk a little bit about some of the things that they've done. They are original equipment tires, so I didn't get to pick them out to start with. Like we said before, this is a Z71 package, 2018 model with about 40,000 miles on it. So this is the Goodyear Wrangler Fortitude HT P265/65/18. In my opinion, they don't have a lot of fortitude, because we're starting to see some problems with this tire. And one of the big problems is there's a lot of cuts and chips. Now, we talked about how we drive a little bit on gravel roads, but the reality is she's going up one driveway that's gravel to take my daughter's friends to her friend's house. It's not really an extensive amount of gravel road driving. But as you can see, there are all kinds of cuts and chips. And we talked about before in some of the other all-terrain videos about cut and chip resistant in the new tires, and what the compounds are to prevent that, and how the tread design prevents that in some cases. Well, this particular tire is extremely vulnerable to cuts and chips. So you can see a cut is obviously just a cut in the tread. And I can peel back these pieces where these cuts are, and the chips where there's just chunks taken out of the tread. And obviously it's getting worse and worse and worse. You also notice that the tread depth is very low now, even at 40,000 miles. Most tires in this class should last 50,000 miles or more, but this one's not going to make it. It's worn out. So that's why we're going to put a set of new tires on it. But anytime you see a tire doing like this under mild off-road conditions, you know that you probably don't have a pretty good tire. And this is not a very good tire at all. So I wanted to make sure that we covered that topic, because we had talked about cut and chip resistance in other tires that we talked about. All these tires that I've selected, all 4 of them have excellent resistance to cut and chip. So they're going to hold up a lot better than what this OE tire is going to hold up. In fact, I don't even think Goodyear is going to continue the Fortitude HT line. I think they've already started the process to update to a new tire. So we'll see how it goes. I know that there's a brand new 2021 Tahoe that's a different body style and a different chassis, but the remainder of these Tahoes in this body style and this chassis have a different Michelin style tire on it. So they obviously knew they had trouble with this, you know, when they used it. I do feel like that it's a little bit, for a Z71 package, you know, I feel like the tire and wheel combination's a little bit small for it, because other people have better tire and wheel packages like on Ford and Toyota, especially Toyota, with some of their things. So if you had any experience with the Grabber APT, the TerrainContact AT, the Open Country AT3, or the KO2, drop a comment in the comments below. As always, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.